The mover's truck idled at the curb, diesel rattling the quiet street. My brother stood beside my mother, keys dangling from his fingers, grin already rehearsed. "We had the house signed into my name," he said. "You're out by Friday." I smiled, not because I was amused, because the last piece had clicked into place. "You really think I'd let that happen?" I said. 2 days later, they came back with movers and froze when they saw who was standing on the porch holding the folder. I learned early that betrayal doesn't arrive loud. It arrives polite, familiar, smiling. This house was my grandparents' legacy: brick, creaking stairs, the faint smell of old books and lemon polish. I stayed when they got sick. I handled the paperwork, the hospital runs, the long nights. My brother visited on holidays. My mother praised him anyway. When the will named me sole beneficiary, they said it was what Grandma wanted. They hugged me. They told me I deserved it. I believed them. That was my first mistake. The second was assuming gratitude lasts longer than greed. It started with small things: my brother asking about property taxes, my mother wanting copies of documents for her records, casual questions about whether I'd considered selling. I answered carefully. I always answer carefully. Then came the slip. I was in the kitchen when I heard my name through the cracked door. My brother's voice, low and confident. "Once it's transferred, he can't do anything," he said. My mother laughed softly. "He never understands these things." That was the moment the grief hardened into clarity. I didn't confront them. I didn't argue. I thanked them for dinner and went home. I sat in my grandfather's chair and stared at the wall until the plan finished forming. I moved the inheritance into a trust the next morning, quietly, legally, completely. The estate, the house, the investments, all of it. I wasn't being paranoid, I was being precise. The trust named me as beneficiary and trustee. It restricted transfers without unanimous trustee consent. There was only one trustee, me. Then I waited. They forged signatures. I confirmed it through a friend at the county office. Sloppy work, rushed. They assumed I wouldn't check. They assumed I wouldn't understand. I documented everything: dates, copies, surveillance footage of my brother entering the house with a notary who'd already been flagged for misconduct. I didn't stop them. I let them feel clever. When my brother showed up with my mother, grinning, eviction deadline ready, I gave them exactly what they expected: nothing. "Understood," I said, like a man accepting defeat. That was the day the trust's enforcement clause activated. By Monday morning, their paperwork hit a wall. Banks froze the accounts linked to the property. The title transfer triggered an automatic review. The trust asserted ownership. A fraud notice was issued before lunch. By Tuesday, their lawyer stopped returning calls. By Wednesday, the movers arrived. They knocked. No answer. The door opened from the inside. I stood on the porch with the folder, black, thick, heavy with consequences. Behind me stood 3 people my brother didn't recognize at first: the trustee's attorney, the county clerk, and the civil investigator assigned to the case. My mother's smile collapsed first. She always understood danger faster than my brother. "What is this?" she whispered. I handed the folder to the investigator. "That," I said, "is the trust agreement, the forged deed, the surveillance footage, and a sworn statement from your notary." My brother laughed once, sharp, desperate. "You're bluffing." The investigator didn't smile. "Sir," he said, "step away from the property." The movers avoided eye contact. They'd seen this before. They always do. My brother's face drained as the truth caught up to him. The house wasn't his. It never was. The signatures meant nothing. The trust owned everything, and the trust answered to me. My mother tried to speak. I cut her off. "You told him I wouldn't understand," I said. "You were right. I understood perfectly." They left without another word. No threats, no apologies. pride doesn't allow either. That night, I sat alone in the living room. The house was quiet again, safe. But this wasn't about property. It never was. It was about control, about assuming the quiet one won't strike back. A week later, my brother was formally charged with fraud. My mother wasn't. She claimed ignorance. The investigation disagreed. Family gatherings stopped. Phone calls dried up. I wasn't invited to anything ever again. I slept better than I had in years. People think revenge is loud, that it needs shouting, public humiliation, blood in the water. They're wrong. The best revenge is structural. It's contracts instead of confrontations, paper instead of punches. It's smiling while someone digs their own grave and handing them the shovel. I still live in the house.